This World Cup has completely changed the way how I look at Jamaican football. Watching the likes of Mexico, the US, Canada, and even other CONCACAF countries like Panama, like Haiti, I have now come to an uncomfortable conclusion. I think Jamaica is falling behind. And no, it's not because we don't have talented players. What's up again, guys? Welcome back to Guntertainment. I'm your host, Richard Gunter. And of course, if you haven't as yet, please consider to subscribe to the channel if you like what you saw or you like what you hear. And of course, leave your thoughts in the comments because I'm going to leave a question at the end of this video. With no further ado, let's get down to business. All right, so in today's video, what I want to talk about is the evidence that I've seen so far to suggest that Jamaica may be falling behind. I want to also talk about where I think we fall short. Also, the World Cup lesson that we can learn. And of course, why this should concern the Jamaican fan base. And last but not least, how Jamaica can catch up. What if you have been watching the World Cup, then you must came across a video of some of the CONCACAF nations playing. I mean, three of them are the host nations. And I don't know about anybody else, but what I saw from Mexico is a lot of rotation in the attacking areas. Now, they have their midfielders rotating outside, playing like wingers, and also the wingers rotating in the midfield. So there's a lot of rotation happening in Mexico's build-up play. And there's a reason for this. And this is because that's how they create space in the final third, and also how one of their attacking principles, they have a tactical identity. They are very comfortable in possession. They are not afraid to pass the ball. As I said, they build up from the back. We've seen it in the group stages and also into the round of 32 and round of 16. We've seen it. What I saw as well is an organized pressing unit from this Mexican team. And I think there's a reason for it. They haven't conceded up until they met England in that round of 16. That's the first time in this tournament that they've conceded 3 goals. And it's because the way how they press and defend. They press as a unit. Their counter pressing was excellent. As soon as they lose the ball, they were onto their opponent. They were just all over their opponent, not giving them any breathing space. So they press well as a team. Also, they have a defensive structure. As I said, you have to be doing something good in defense to not concede throughout the group stages and into the round of 32. Because I think when you come up against the likes of Czechia, South Africa, South Korea, these are 3 different opponents. It's unfortunate they went out to a very good English side. When I watch US, what I saw from US was a very athletic young team. They had a clear footballing philosophy. Of course, when you have a coach like Mauricio Pochettino, then you have to expect they had quality players coming in to replace those top players. And this was evident on display in the World Cup. And I like how they played. It's unfortunate for them as well. They went out to a good Belgium team where I think a lot of people might have forgot how good Belgium is and the quality of players that they had. But for me personally, the US didn't turn up in that game against Belgium. Also, there is Canada. Canada is a team that they press aggressive. They are very physical because you know that, I don't know about anybody else, but when you're watching a team that Jesse Marsch is coaching, you have to, there are some things that you will expect. One is how aggressive they are in their pressing structure. They try to play modern football where they play through the thirds, they have rotations in the attacking third, and They try to get forward as much as possible to score as many goals as possible. And one thing I have to say about this Canadian team is that they have chemistry. Don't forget that. They have a good team chemistry. And this can only be forged with a team that is playing consistently together and over a period of time. Also, coupled with good coaching. You will accomplish a good team chemistry if you incorporate all those things. And Canada had this. I also watched Panama versus Ghana. To me, Panama was the better team on that day. They played well. They were getting through the lines. They just couldn't score. And I think that was what was lacking from this Panamanian side. They just weren't scoring. But they were they were disciplined. You could see that they were coached, well drilled by, I don't remember the name of the Panama's coach, but you can say they know exactly who they are, and they went about business in that fashion. Unfortunately, they didn't win a game, but they came up against very strong opponent, and I could see that they were a well-coached team that they have an idea of what they wanted to do, they were just having a bit of trouble in the final third in terms of putting away chances. But we saw the likes of these CONCACAF nations that I believe if they continue to do what they are doing and keep improving, Jamaica will be left behind. Now, let's talk about where we fall short. To be honest, here's a question. What exactly is Jamaica's style? Can the fans answer a question like that? What is our style of play? Do we have tactical cohesion? We have talented players, but I don't think our movement is always synchronized. Meaning, sometimes when we are building out from the back, yes, we try to build out from the back in recent times and we try to have a lot of possession. But in that final third, when the ball goes to the midfield, the midfielder turns and look up and ready to make a forward pass or a threatening to play a threatening ball in behind. I'm not seeing the synchronization in where, you know, once the midfielder pick up the ball, you know that your winger is going to make that run. You know that your forward is going to come deep. You know that there's going to be a rotation, whether the wing back will go and the midfielder and one of the wingers will drift inside. So a variety of passes can be made, and sometimes in some cases these things look automatic. The reason why it look automatic, it's because of synchronization. The midfielder knows that when I pick up this ball, my wing back is going to move, my winger is going to move, so I can play them. I didn't see that enough from Jamaica in recent times. This is why I said I don't think our movement in the final third is much synchronized. So we often have to just turn back and keep on recycling the ball because we lack that synchronization in going forward. I don't think we particularly press in a coordinated way. It's like one person wants to press and the rest of the team is backing off, while two person goes to press and the others are not anticipating and moving accordingly. It's just all over the place, and I didn't like that. When it's like that, teams can easily pick you apart because the attackers are too far away from the midfield and defense, or the midfield and attackers is too far away from the defense. So there's a lot of spaces where quality teams can penetrate and punish you. And I need to see that coordinated press where if we're gonna go, we're gonna go. If we're not gonna go, we're just not gonna go. But one man cannot press. As I mentioned earlier, we like to build up from the back in recent times, but I think we oftentimes our build-up play is being broken down in the final third for one reason or another. the lack of, maybe a lack of quality, maybe it's decision making, I don't know. But it's a combination of those things that I've just said. That that final ball, that final pass, that pass, that pre-assist pass, or that final pass is sometimes lacking in the final third, and everything just breaks down. I think we need to be better at that. We are a team that most people will consider to be a team who is a transition side, but I don't see that as often. I think we're oftentimes, the transition is not clean enough, it's not decisive enough, it's not dangerous enough. When we are in transition, we have the speed, we have the quality to get on the end of things and finish them off, but we're not seeing that. When a team loses the ball and we pick up this football, we are not transitioning fast with enough quality for most time. In most cases, we've done it, we know that we can do it, but it's not consistent enough, and that is a problem. Domestic development. No, I think our domestic league has improved a teeny bit, but I think it needs to be better. Recently, the JFF has announced that if you're participating in a JFF competition, then you have to have the required coaching badges, the required coaching license. I think that is a good step in the right direction for Jamaican football. So maybe we can now see that coaching will improve, the academies will be a little bit better, player development will be a more, can be fast tracked. Perhaps there might be a pathway in which players can come through the youth system all the way to the senior program, and they will have developed the right and proper way to make that matriculation to the next level. Football in education. I said before, the JFF has now announced that you have to have the required license to coach, and that is good. So let's just wait and see how well this policy that they have put in place will, how well this can be enforced, and the fruits of the labor that we will reap from a situation like this, from a policy like this. Because I think without these things, without the proper coaching, proper player development, proper football in education, with we know that there's a lot of academies now in Jamaican football. Without these, talent alone just isn't enough. So we need these things in place for our football to thrive. Now, let's move on to the lessons that I think we can learn from the World Cup. One of the big lessons from this World Cup is that now more than ever, coaching matters. I think coaching is a big component of why we see so many teams that maybe persons might think that this team, they don't expect this team to do well, but because of their coaching structure, because of their coaching education, because of the coach that they have punched way above their weight. We now see that smaller nations are outperforming the bigger nations. This is probably because of two reasons. One, they are tactically organized. But how are you able to be tactically organized if you don't have a good coach? How are you able to be tactically organized? So it all comes back to the coach. So as I said, good coaching is a big component of why these smaller nations are outperforming the bigger. Gone are the days where you might think that once you have a talented squad, then things will happen for you. Talent doesn't automatically gives you football success. It doesn't automatically win you football matches anymore. So again, coaching matters. Now, why should Jamaican fans, why should Reggae Boyz fans be concerned? Let me tell you why. If Mexico, US, Canada, Panama, Haiti, If all these teams keep improving, what will happen to Jamaica? Remember, now US, Canada, and Mexico, they are no longer the host nations. So when the other cycle comes around, those three will still be in the mix of qualification to in trying to qualify for the 2030 World Cup. Now, with all these teams coming back in contention, as I said, the likes of Panama, Haiti, and Curacao are improving. So if these teams continue to improve, where does that leave the Reggae Boyz? We literally will be dropping 7. And don't forget about Costa Rica. Don't forget about Honduras, El Salvador. Don't forget about these teams. We will be keep we will just keep dropping further and further down the pecking order, and we can't afford this. This it makes no sense. Then why are we playing football? So we don't want to become a nation that's always just fighting for qualification. That's a dangerous position to be in. We want to be in the position where we can compete with the big boys. As I said, if these teams keep improving, then we will gradually drop below the pecking order, and that is a dangerous position to be in. And this is why we should be concerned. This should be a concern for us. If other teams keep improving and we are just stuck in the same stagnant position, when you get too stagnant, John just start grow up on you. Anyway, you see, no stagnant water. What you always see. Some green something in the, start come up in the water because it stayed there too long, and it just trap all sort of dust and maggots. If if the Reggae Boyz keep on underperforming and not doing the right thing, then that is exactly what we're going to become. Moving along, how can we catch up? How can we catch up to these teams? Yes, we understand what we're up against. We're up against the Canadas, the Mexicos, the US. Good teams. But how can we catch them up? Now it's time for solutions. Some of the things that I would suggest that we do if we want to catch up to the likes of Mexico, Canada, US, Panama, Haiti is, for one, better coaching. Like just better coaching education. That's one. We need a clear footballing blueprint. We need stronger youth development. We need better transition from youth to senior football. We need more tactical consistency across all national teams. U15, U20, U23, all the way to the senior team. We need under 17, we need just a consistency in tactics, in footballing identity, in football blueprint. A random coach or scout or a random fan can just watch the U17s and then watch the 23s or even the national team, and without even knowing, based on the color that we're playing, they can, after watching this game, they can say, whoa, this team looks like Jamaica. This team looks like the Reggae Boyz. Who is this team? Without even looking at who and who is playing, they should be able to watch the game and identify that this team looks like Jamaica. This team look like the Reggae Boyz. We need that tactical consistency across all national teams. We need to start focusing more on prioritizing long-term planning instead of short-term fixes. So fix the culture in the team. You know, is we cannot be. There's a saying that my coach used to love say to me. He always said, only a fool do the same thing over and over, hoping to get a different result. So let us stop being fools in Jamaica. From the federation come right down to the players. Let us stop being fools. Let's try to change up things a bit, man. Changes in life. We need, sometimes a change is good enough. So let us try to do the right thing. because I don't think Jamaica lacks talent. I think more often than not, we are just out-coached, out-developed, and in some cases, out-planned. The rest of CONCACAF has evolved. What say us? What are we doing for ourselves? Now the question is, will Jamaica evolve with them? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Again, if you like what you see here, if you like the video, if you like the information that was presented, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. This will do a lot for the channel. It will do a lot for me, and I would appreciate it very much. Now, my final question is, do you think Jamaica has actually fallen behind the rest of CONCACAF, or are the Reggae Boyz just one good coach and one clear football plan away from catching up? Let me know in the comments. And as always, subscribe, like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm out.